Negotiating leverage is both real, it can be viewed objectively, and how it is perceived, messages that are heard and yet may have little or no basis in fact. Everyone knows of the importance of skillfully using persuasion and communication during negotiations. However, everyone on your team knowing that and then carefully thinking about what to say and when to say it can be a challenge. Be too transparent in sharing cost data, say the wrong thing at the wrong time, or give non-verbal clues that show your anxiety can all reduce your confidence and your negotiating leverage. The result is, more often than not, a deal that isn't as good as you hoped it would be. So, smart negotiators think carefully about the message they are sending to the other party. The best ones go even further. They create a compelling story that the other side can begin to accept as necessary or even fully embrace. Professional buyers can be very skilled at this. Their relentless demands for continuous improvement in performance, value for money, and cost reductions often dominate the discussions between themselves and their suppliers. This is called conditioning. And this is no accident. Such demands are communicated with care and intention and are designed to soften up the supplier's negotiators. Their aim is to suppress the expectations of the salesperson so that the latter's confidence in requesting price increases is reduced. But what do they actually say? Well, some common procurement conditioning tactics are: 1. They persistently make high demands for price reductions or other value improvements. 2. They encouragingly speak of working in partnership or collaboration, yet expect all of the benefits to go to them. 3. They suggest that being transparent about the supplier's costs will enable them to help the supplier make improvements, again, the benefits flowing to them. Or 4, they will praise our competitors and hint at replacing us with one of them, even though they may have no intention to do so. They often communicate these themes to us well in advance of formal negotiations. It's arguably manipulative, and it is certainly effective. Procurement also has an inbuilt advantage over us in sales. Their sourcing plans will run weeks, sometimes months in advance of us submitting our proposals or tender responses. Long before we are preparing our bids, they have completed market analysis, initial benchmarking, and decided on contract scope. We need to match their strategic approach by devising our sales messaging and communicating it much earlier and with more confidence. But what messages? In the earlier video on power, we suggested you list all of the power assets that favor your position, the things that bring you negotiating leverage in the relationship with the customer. It is from this list that you can begin to communicate your strengths and minimize the customer's perception of your weaknesses. Here are some of the messages we can relay to the typical customer. We can talk up our successes with other customers, reminding procurement that others respect our brand and value our solutions. Awarding the contract to us is a safe bet. We can communicate the value of what we provide constantly, ideally by quantifying the benefits of our solutions, including our day-to-day performance. The key here is having data, case studies that show the value you can generate for customers. And that value might be extra profit or cost savings, or could also be more of a message about being a reliable supplier, thus avoiding unnecessary costs for the customer. Note that it's particularly important that we don't save up these good news stories until we're face-to-face during the formal negotiating period. At this point, the buyer will be focused on his or her needs and won't hear what we have to say. We may also consider downplaying the relationship and the importance of the contract to avoid signaling any overdependence on the customer's business. We recommend you study your listing of power assets and build a detailed communication plan in advance of the expected renewal or RFP date. Some of your messages will inevitably be crowded out by procurement's own conditioning moves. But be persistent, communicate consistently and powerfully, and you will have a better chance of establishing your story in the buyer's mind. When it comes to the formal rounds of negotiation, you won't have to sell from scratch. With persistence and luck, your messages will already have been understood and acknowledged by the customer's team.